and welcome to episode 27. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the Disney Cruise Line world. Hi, welcome to the continuing adventures of Two Gray Mice. I'm Meg.
And I'm Rob.
And we are Two Gray Mice. Hey folks, how are we today? It's just me. Rob's taking a break. And today we're going to talk a little bit about Disney Cruise Line because I have an opportunity to go on the Disney Wish in March, so it popped into my head. So let's get into it. Let's talk Disney Cruise Line. Because if you ever thought, I'm just not a cruise person, there's a good chance you just haven't found the right cruise. And I say this because my husband said for 20 years, I'm not a cruise person. We took one cruise on Cunard, and he decided he wasn't a cruise person. Cunard. He wasn't a Cunard person. He found out that he is a cruise person. I love cruises. I think they're fun. I also love Disney cruises. I think they're unique and special. And whether you're adults or a family, you're going to find something just for you. And people think they understand Disney Cruise Line. They're like, we got it. I understand it. Don't worry about it. Or it's just for kids. Or it's too expensive. Sometimes it's actually just as expensive or less expensive, depending on the sales and the time of year you go, to go on a Disney cruise out of Port Canaveral than it is to spend 5 days at Walt Disney World. So think about it. If you want a little Disney fix, but not a huge Disney fix, Disney Cruise Line might be just what you want. You can get as much Disney as you want or not want, which is kind of nice. So we're going to go through what Disney has, what they don't have, what makes them different than Royal Caribbean and Norwegian and all the other ones out there, and try to hopefully break some of those misconceptions that people have about Disney Cruise Line. Because a lot of them are just wrong. A lot of them are kind of close, and we'll see. So we're going to walk through what makes Disney different from all the other cruise lines and get a bigger picture of the 8 ships that they have and see if maybe this is for you. The big picture. What makes it different? It's not a party ship. Royal Caribbean advertises themselves as the world's greatest weekend, and it's a party ship. Virgin can be a party ship. They both can also have quiet, secluded areas that you don't have to party. So that's one thing that Disney is not. But once you get on board Disney, everything is kind of taken care of for you. You have to pay gratuities once you find out your fare, and you have to pay for any alcoholic beverages on board and any excursions like every other one. But for the most part, everything else is included. Your soda, ice cream, all your food except for the adult restaurants. So they aren't nickeling and diming you once you've purchased your fare. Many of the other cruise ships do. They don't include soda, or they don't include this food, or they don't include that fast food restaurant, or at this restaurant, this side of the menu is free and that side of the menu you have to pay for. That drives me crazy, which is one of the reasons why I like Virgin, because they don't do it either. And the staff is so well trained, and you are so pampered the entire time you're there. It's not stuffy. You get first class service without the first class attitude, I guess. I'm not really sure how to put it, but it's not a stuffiness. You're relaxed. They're relaxed. They're friendly. You end up really kind of making, friends, especially with your waitstaff as you go along. And it's Disney storytelling to a slightly higher level, and of course, on a boat. Disney currently has 7 ships. It'll have 8 by March. They're hoping to double their fleet by 31. In 27, they're going to have the last of the Wish class ships come out. The originals are the Disney Magic and the Disney Wonder. They came out in 1998 and 99. They've both, of course, been rehabbed, redone, and upgraded since then. And they're the smallest ships. They hold about 2,700 passengers. They're smaller, more classic, a little less overwhelming. The Wonder is usually, well, one of these, if it's not the Wonder, it's the Magic, Does the Elastic Alaska cruises. You want a smaller ship for those. You want to be able to get closer to the shorelines. You want to be able to not have a crowd so you can actually see out the windows. That's why I don't really recommend Royal for Alaska unless you're a Royal fan. I just feel that the ships are too big for that kind of an area. These ships feel intimate. They're great for first-time cruisers. You're not going to get lost. Sometimes these huge ships are overwhelming. You're not going to get lost in these ships. You're going to know where you're going. If you don't want sensory overload, and they're just a little calmer of a vibe. One day I'm going to stop losing my voice every afternoon. Then you have the Disney Fantasy and the Dream. They came out in 2011 and 2012. They carry about 4,000 people. They introduced the Aqueduct, which was their first water coaster on board. Disney is not going to be known for their water slides and their water areas. They're good. They're fun. But it's not like Royal Caribbean, which has 7 or 8 water slides on the new Icon classes. They're going to have a fun area for the kids, splash zones and the Aqueduct. But if you're really into like water slides and want a water park-like feel on your ship, then you're not going to go to Disney. The Fantasy is known for their 7-night Caribbean cruises, and then very often it goes across the pond and does the 7-night European cruises during the summertime. They're small enough to get into, especially like they do a lot of the Norway to over to Scotland and around England and places where you kind of, want a smaller ship. After this, she came out with the Wish class. Originally, they were called the Triton class, but they're going to come out with a 4th ship in this class, which would make them not a Triton. The Wish class ships are the Wish, the Treasure, and the Destiny. The Destiny launched just this past November. The Treasure launched the year before, and the Wish came out in 22. The Wish was delayed a little bit because of COVID, so they came out in 22, 24, and 25. These also hold about 4,000 passengers, but the design is very different. They got rid of the center staircases. So many cruise lines, if you look at it, it's a long line. You're going to have a staircase and an elevator at the port. You're going to have a staircase and an elevator at the port, in the aft and the stern, and then you're going to have one in the center. So that they have this huge, grand atrium that you enter into with a big statue in it of whatever they're honoring for that ship, and balconies where you get greeted by characters, and this huge chandelier. To have that whole area, they got rid of the center staircases. A lot of people dislike this. They find that it gets a little crowded at the other two. I'll find out. I've toured the Wish. I've never sailed on the Wish. These are much more immersive, much more storytelling in these ships and in the spaces. These are the first ships where they really bring in the parks into the ships and the movies into the ships. The Wish has a bar that's themed for Star Wars. The Treasure has one that's themed to the Haunted Mansion, so does the Destiny. The Destiny has one that's also themed towards Jungle Cruise, and Pirates of the Caribbean, Cruella de Vil. So these 3 ships are bringing more of that storytelling in, bringing a little bit more of that Disney in. And the first 4 have been revamped to show that a little more, to be a little less Art Deco, a little more Disney. But at the same time, you can kind of avoid that if you wanted to. Treasure leans heavily into adventure with Aladdin and Coco themes. The Destiny leans into villains. So basically half the ship theming is villains and the other half are the heroes. And you could it's all on the carpet. Like when you walk along, you can see which side you're on by looking at the carpet. And it's kind of interesting. It's really kind of cool. They're very much a little bit over the top. Some people don't like them. Some people like the smaller ships, especially the Fantasy. I don't know. I'll find out when I get on the Wish to see if, which ones I would like better. They're stunning. They're beautiful. The kids' clubs are also a little bigger. You can't say that they're busier, Sometimes I may feel like that because they only have 2 staircases, but they hold the same amount of people as the Fantasy, uh, so and the Dream. So you gotta think that really may feel busier, but it's not. Um, I would, I would definitely put a family on the Wish, the Treasure, the Destiny, but at the same time, you do have the adult-only areas. The Adventure is the last ship. That would be the 8th ship that's coming out hopefully this March. It's been delayed. Before. It is a new class for them completely. It is huge. It's over 6,000 people. It has huge areas. We really don't know that much about it, except they are going to have fireworks. It is definitely being aimed more towards the Southeast Asia, South Asia population, since it is going to be sailing out of Singapore in 3 and 4 night sailings, going nowhere, just wandering around the ocean and coming back to Singapore. I'd love to get on this cruise ship. I'd love to go to Singapore, but just because it's going to really be interesting. It's going to have a lot of shows, a lot of very themed areas. This ship was originally being built for a different cruise line that went out of business, so they had to completely retheme the casino area into a Disney area that doesn't have casinos because Disney doesn't have casinos. So Disney doesn't have casinos. So if a casino is important to you, don't take a Disney cruise. And then, like I was telling you before, between 27 and 31, they're planning on adding 4 more ships so that they're going to end up at 13. Disney is, like many of the cruise lines, leaning towards alternate fuels and technology to keep their footprint in the ocean as small as possible. They're leaning towards green technologies. They're, leaning towards not using single-use plastic, but they're not like Virgin where you can't find it. So they're really trying to take care of the ocean that is currently taking care of them. Also, in this next 4 ships, they're going to end up with hopefully one that will be sailing out of Japan and actually going to ports, which will also be kind of fun. Now, one of the fun, cool things about Disney and their cruise line, which I mentioned earlier, is their service. Their service is excellent. And one of the places that it shows the most is actually in their dining. All these ships have 3 main dining halls. Okay, when you get on board, you're given one of 2 times. It's like 5:30 or 8 to eat, just like you get in every other cruise ship. Or you can go eat someplace else. They have a buffet and they have the quick service dining up on the pool decks. But if you eat at the main dining rooms, you're going to eat your first night in restaurant 1, your second night in restaurant 2, your third night in restaurant 3. If you have more than that, you start over again at the beginning. What's interesting is in all the other cruise lines, you would have a different wait staff in each restaurant. For Disney, the wait staff goes with you. So you have the same 2 people, main waiter and assistant, at each restaurant. So they get to know you. So you may find when you go to sit down, your glass of white wine that you've ordered for the first 2 nights already waiting. Or, my daughter's case, a glass of cranberry juice or iced tea would be waiting for her because that's what she drinks. So they get to know you. So the service just kind of goes up that little bit that, some other just don't give you. Also, like at the end of your dining, if your kids want to go back to the kids club, they had this before COVID and they're bringing it back slowly to some of the ships. The staff from the kids clubs come up to the dining rooms and get your kids so that you can keep relaxing at the table and having another glass of wine or being with your spouse, your partner, whoever it may be, instead of, running back down to the kids club, running back up. So it's just different. The staterooms. They don't have 10 million classes of staterooms. When I try to book a Royal Caribbean, there's literally like 5 classes of interior staterooms and different classes of ocean view and different classes of suites and different classes of veranda staterooms. Disney has suites. They're all concierge when you get a suite. Veranda, family veranda, ocean view, family ocean view, inside. That's it. Very simple, very straightforward. What the ocean view, I believe, and the verandas have is a split bathroom. So one room has a toilet and one room has a shower and a sink, which is nice when you think about it. These rooms are not big. It's a stateroom. None of them, unless you get a suite, are going to be very large. And this gives you the ability to have one person using the facility and one person being able to put their makeup on or whatever the case may be, which just makes it easier, especially when you're traveling with kids. What's also nice with Disney is you do get housekeeping in your room twice a day. So the family, veranda or stateroom, you have the queen size bed, and then you have a couch that turns into a bed and a bunk bed over it. So they come in the morning after you've gotten up and out, and they put it back into a couch and they tuck the upper bed away. And then they come back, usually when you're at dinner, and they turn them back into beds. Perfect. What is nice about this is, and they bring in fresh towels. So if you've been in the pool all day, or if it's your Castaway Key day, you've gotten fresh towels. So it just kind of works better. A lot of the other ones have gone to once a day. So then your options are to have the bed out all day or to do it yourself. And this is not something that I think that any cruise line should be doing. I think everybody should have somebody that comes out and does it for you. Virgin does as well. Virgin, you get your stateroom people there are twice a day, every day. So it just, with that and the way the staterooms work out, it just makes this, the cruise line a lot easier because also a curtain between the two areas, for a family to be in the same room, for multi-gens to be close to each other, to make it more of a family vacation if you wanted to. Or if, like, me and Rob, who are just going to be traveling as me and Rob, it gives you that room to have your bed and to have a couch and to relax and not just have just a bed and the veranda as the only places you can hang out. Disney currently has two private, one's a private island, one's a private beach resort, Castaway Key and Lookout Point. They're both in the Caribbean. You'll either hit one or both if you take a Caribbean cruise. Like I'm going to do Castaway Key and Nassau. It totally depends on which one you want. These islands are amazing. The service that you get on board comes onto the island as well. They do have more water slides. They have a whole kids area. They have cabanas. They have an adult area. Very well done. Again, not as party atmosphere or over-the-top water park as you're going to find at Royal Caribbean, but still a very well done, very relaxed atmosphere. Any cruise line can be difficult to buy on your own. You have to understand the ships. People are like, it's easy. And it is. It's easy to go to Costco and to just buy a cruise. But where's your cruise? Where's that stateroom? What stateroom is good for you? Like for us, we don't get seasick very easily, so I don't care where I am front to back. But my sister does. When we go to Alaska, I'm taking the center area because that's where the ship moves the least. And I'm trying to get center because that's really where the ship doesn't move a lot. You don't want to end up with the room that's directly under the pool deck if you've got an infant that wakes up at the slightest bit of sound or near the propellers in the back. There's all sorts of little things you need to understand about any of these cruise ships and especially Disney and all the different aspects of it that as a travel advisor, I can help you with. So you have a little princess or a little prince and they love the royalty that are part of Disney Cruise Line. The Fantasy of the Wish. Cinderella is the main statue for the Wish upon a Star. You have one of the bar areas is based after Tiana's. Frozen is one of the restaurants. The Broadway-style show, they all have beautiful Broadway-style shows, by the way, is Little Mermaid. So you're going to get that whole Disney royalty kind of aspect. You always get the Fab Five with that ship. The Disney Treasure is more adventure. So, your statue is Aladdin and Jasmine. Your themed restaurant is Coco, more family. Your Broadway-style show is Moana, which I desperately want to say it's supposed to be amazing. So more action involved than, falling in love, I'm a princess kind of storyline. The new one, the Disney Destiny, which is, like I said, villains and heroes, the Broadway-style show is Hercules. The main character in the atrium is the Black Panther. You've got the themings are, for the restaurants, are Marvel. All three of the newest ships have Marvel. And the last one is the Lion King. Your pubs and other areas are based on Cruella de Vil and the Haunted Mansion. The kids areas, the kids clubs, also will have theming. Most of them have a Marvel area, they have a Star Wars area, and the Star Wars area is, you feel like you've walked into the Millennium Falcon or another ship. It is so detailed and so rich and so much to play with and so much to do. I am very excited for my cruise, and I can't wait to tell you all about it when I get back. And that's all I have for today. So bye, folks, and talk to y'all soon. Thank you for listening to The Adventures of Two Gray Mice. We would love it if you could please leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to this podcast. For all your vacation needs at Disney, Universal, or cruise lines, please reach out to Meg at megandthemouse.com. Have a great week.